The second lady, Hajia Samira Bawumia, was the special guest speaker for the 24th National Women's Conference of the Islamic Mission Secretariat held in Krobo in the Techiman North District of the Borno East region. The second lady, in her speech on the theme of the function, combating the negative effects of social media on the youth, the role of a Muslim woman, used the opportunity to draw the attention of the participants on some of the negative impacts of social media on the young generation.
Today, one of the ills facing us is the negative effects of social media. We are all aware of the content our children and youth consume on the internet across many social media platforms. Leaving young ones to have unrestricted access to the internet brings them in contact with all sorts of ideologies and lifestyles that are foreign to the traditional way of life as Muslims and Ghanaians. In some cases, unsuspecting young persons are recruited by unscrupulous persons who are hiding behind the anonymity of the internet to do unspeakable things to children and get them to indulge in criminal activity.
She reminded them of the need to stay vigilant by guiding children on the proper use of the social media to ensure that they avoid being exploited by external forces.
As Muslim women, our duty to Allah requires us to guide our children and other young people around us in order to prevent exposing them to things and people who negatively affect them. This requires us to always take an interest in the activities of our children. We need to instill in them the culture of respect, decency, and regard for one another. I would like to conclude by stating that a Muslim woman's primary duty is her duty to Allah, and then comes her duty to fellow human beings, foremost responsibility being to her husband and children. So she should be an effective role model for them and guide them. We need to protect our next generation from being negatively influenced and keep them from being exploited. Inshallah, with persistence and a collective resolve, we can be successful.
General Secretary of the Women's Wing of the Islamic Mission Secretariat, Hajia Mariam Ketia Suleiman, appealed to government to give more attention to job creation efforts as a means to reducing joblessness, which according to her leads to exploitation in most cases.
Successive government needs commendation for policy interventions such as the National Service Scheme and the MPP government in particular for programs such as NAPCO, YEA, U-Start, among others, which seeks to engage the youth temporarily. We appeal to the government to give more attention to job creation efforts in conjunction with the private sector through the creation of enabling environment such as stimulus packages and tax incentives. This will ensure that students on completing school will be able to start businesses to keep themselves occupied.
Omanhene of the Techiman Traditional Council and Borno East Regional Representative at the Council of State, Osiadeyo Ekunfi Amia IV, admonished both Muslim men and women to use its teachings to help in combating negative social vices in the community. The group also used the opportunity to solicit for funds towards the construction of a 100-bed capacity hospital project which has already taken off in Krobo. Anas Sabit, Joy News, Krobo in the Techiman North District.